Well, thank you very much, Janet. Indeed, the conversation now goes on to this point. And in studio, of course, I have Daniel Maanzo, MP Makueni, representing Wiper in this case, and of course, founder member of Wiper Party.
Yes.
And then we have LSK Chair Erick Mutua. Thank you very much, both of you, for making time for us. I'll start with you. The ruling has been made by the IEBC Dispute Resolution Tribunal.
Yes.
I'll ask you now, is Kathy Kilonzo a registered voter?
Yes, I do believe so. She told me while the party, interviewed her before her papers were presented, that she's a registered voter, and she was sure about it. She had an acknowledgement slip which came from the IEBC.
How, if we have a tribunal today looking into this and saying she's not registered, the slip was acquired fraudulently, and you're talking about the nomination, I believe, of Wiper Democratic Movement Party. How did that happen? Did you have the processes to really tell if Kathy Kilonzo was registered and to know where that acknowledgement slip came from? There
are only 3 places you'll find out whether a member is registered, and all these records are kept by the IEBC. One of them is a green book, the other one the BVR machine, and the other one is the voting registers. Those 3 will show whether a person is registered or not. Or if you have an acknowledgement slip, which is actually an administrative slip for the IEBC, it doesn't really have a force of law, but it is their own document for recognition, whether you are registered or not. So these records are kept by the IEBC. And therefore, if the IEBC decides you are not registered, even if you were,
but you can check with the IEBC, and I believe that is true. If you want, you can check with the IEBC as a party.
You can check as a...
Because one of the conditions, of course, for anybody to seek a position is to be a registered voter. You could check as Wiper, as the Wiper Party, if she's really registered.
In fact, each political party has been sent documents. They have been sent the BVR records. Unfortunately, they have got a lot of errors. And even while this matter was going on in court, a lot of people kept on sending SMSs, say, look, this was a registration center, the school where she registered in Gong Forest. We registered about 400 or so people. We went to vote, and our names were missing, and we were turned away.
So did you check with the IEBC before we came to this point, when she was seeking nomination?
First, we checked the records they had, and at that point, they indicated if the BVR records are not showing, then the green books must show. But if she has
that is
slip,
during the nomination?
Yes, during the nomination, because as a party, you must counter-check with them.
So the records didn't show?
They said they have one other record they're checking. They say they have one other record called the green book. And should the green book reveal, then we can, you can look at it.
And so you decided,
because she was sure, she presented herself, she made an application, and though it never came out, it just got lost somehow. But the green books were in custody of IEBC.
So you didn't, you had to wait then for the IEBC to show you what is in the green books, and you decided to give her
so long as she had an acknowledgement slip, to us, it was sufficient.
Okay, you are, of course, the chair of the LSK Society of Kenya. Yes. Kathy Kilonzo is a distinguished member, I believe, of LSK.
Yes.
This has happened, basing it on what has been ruled by the tribunal, IEBC Dispute Resolution Tribunal. Is the LSK going to take any action against Kathy Kilonzo?
Not really, because Kathy Kilonzo has not been found guilty of any criminal offense or any election offense. And therefore, until and unless there is an investigation which has been carried out, a police file has been opened, witness statements have been recorded, and thereafter a charge is prepared and criminal proceedings are commenced, where a guilty verdict is pronounced, LSK cannot step in.
She has been, according to the ruling today.
Yes.
What we can see is that she possessed a false document.
Well, what the IEBC Disputes Resolution Tribunal has said is that prima facie, this document appears not to be a genuine document. And since they are not an investigative arm of government, what they have recommended is that further investigations be conducted by either themselves or themselves in collaboration with another government investigative agency for purposes of establishing whether or not there has been any offense committed in terms of forgery or uttering a false document.
What does the law then say about presenting false documents?
Like
to the IEBC?
If you present or you utter a false document to an institution like, for instance, IEBC, and then it is established that indeed the document was false and you did that, then that is a criminal offense. Yes.
There's a very interesting thing here about, it's good that both of you are lawyers, because what you're saying is that, and we saw during the hearings, many people coming and saying there were very many problems with that specific polling station.
Yes.
So that means, you correct me,
Yes.
that means you yourself as a party, Wiper,
Yes.
and representatives of Kathy Kilonzo may acknowledge that there could have been problems with registration,
Yes.
but not coming from her, but IEBC.
Yes.
But in the end, that means still she's not registered in law?
That's why we are going to the High Court, because as far as we are concerned, the acknowledgement slip has been identified as a document of IEBC. So it is one of their documents. It is, they did not say this we didn't make. They are the ones who made it, and they keep custody of the duplicate. They have custody.
Yeah, but it's a fraudulently acquired document.
They have said that the prima facie it is, at the look of it, without undertaking further investigations, they have said that in their opinion that document does not originate from themselves. And even if it did, according to them, it doesn't constitute as evidence of registration. That is what they've said. Yes.
Does what they're going to do in court at the High Court count? Do you think it has any weight?
Well, there are certain aspects. I think first and foremost, I would not agree with anyone saying that the tribunal did not have jurisdiction. To me, it had jurisdiction because that power is donated by the Constitution itself in terms of resolving disputes arising out of nominations. That is one. However, I think they have a point when they say that the independence of that tribunal may be questioned because the documents which are in issue are the documents which are generated and which are in their custody. To that extent, they could be having a point in terms of the independence of that tribunal. That, for me, probably is an issue which can be taken up at the High Court. And I think, secondly, there is also the question of the registers. There's a lot of uncertainties and a lot of confusion in terms of the registers. That probably they could also take that to the High Court. But I'm not saying that the appeal is watertight. What I'm saying is that there are issues which probably they can be taken to the High Court for
interpretation
by the High Court, but not on jurisdiction.
How soon is this supposed to be done?
Well, it has to be.
We're going to the by-election in the next.
Yes, it has to be as soon as possible because the campaign period had already started, and you know this particular register is talking about the 45 amendments. So if you have 45 names deleted with whitewash and other names written on top, that tells a lot. And if you have, it is the same station whereby there are 4,000 or so registered voters, and over 5,000 people voted, and over 500 people turned away while they knew that was their voting station and near their registration center. So there was a problem with the BVRs, as all of us know. And the initial registration were with the BVRs. Ordinarily, you will post, once you get the details, you post them. And sometimes, even the time showing is the time as set by the computer. So a lot of Kenyans who are in this tribunal volunteered cards, which had somewhere showing 2013, others 2011, because of computer settings and what the clerks copy. And they are handwritten by clerks of IEBC. Yes.
This is very important. Critics are really talking about this.
Yes.
Many people are pointing out to the fact that there could have been undue pressure from Wiper Party or CORD's leadership to have Kathy Kilonzo go for this seat. That she didn't really appear like she really wanted to go for the seat. We remember the early days, it was only the MPs, you included, of Wiper saying Kathy will go for it. Kathy came very late into the picture saying she'll go for it. And some are saying she didn't even vote in the last election. And with all due respect to her and her late father, she didn't even vote for her late father in the last election. Was there undue pressure from Wiper or CORD?
I would not really think. The more pressure came from Jubilee. It is Jubilee. You remember the Honorable Ndete giving evidence, how she visited, and a lot of Jubilee people visited her home and visited her.
Kathy herself said that.
Yes, and after she said so, and the witnesses say so. And after they
But Jubilee
visited,
haven't
I
said so.
remember
It's
when
well for them,
she now posted something in the internet and said, look, I'm not going to compete with my stepmother, but more important, I will not compete. I will not join my father's enemies. I think a few people in Jubilee got very upset. And I remember somebody saying, so long as she's on Jubilee, she will make it. And so long as she doesn't come on Jubilee, then she will face it. That threat has been there. So they have executed their threat. They've made sure.
How? What do you mean they have executed the threat?
Yeah.
Like they are the ones behind this? How?
Well, you saw the lawyers. You saw everybody. It was a Jubilee
But
affair.
it was a fair hearing. You presented your evidence. They presented their evidence. And the ruling has been made.
I think to be fair,
yes.
One can say that although it was politics which were introduced in a legal process, all in all, you can say that there was politics basically in the entire legal process which went on in the tribunal. But I do not think you can really say, given what transpired in court, you can really say that the court or the tribunal was influenced by other factors. I think when you look at it, probably
the ruling was influenced by other factors?
I'm saying, although the process was commenced to solve a political problem, eventually, I think in terms of what was considered by the tribunal to arrive at a decision, it was purely legal and the evidence presented before them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, we have to wind up now. Very briefly, let me just ask you this. If the High Court upholds what has been ruled today, that she is in fact ineligible, what will Wiper Party do?
Well,
will you have a candidate? No?
No, of course, the law wouldn't allow you to have a candidate at that point. But, you know, we need to wait for that particular moment. But what I would say is, if Kathy was a Jubilee candidate, she would not have gone through this. She will be a candidate today, trust me.
Because of time, I won't press you so much to say why you're saying that, but of course it's only important to have a Jubilee representative here, so that will be fair. But again, in the courtroom, Wiper presented their evidence and Jubilee presented their evidence, and we had a ruling.
It was a tribunal doing a work of an election court. It began as a well-meaning tribunal, but the matters which arose were of an election court.
That is why, okay, let me just leave it at that. That is why you're going to the High Court. Thank you very much, Daniel Maanzo, who's the lawyer still in this case for Wiper and Wiper founder, and also the MP for Makueni. Thank you very much. And LSK Chairman Erick Mutua. Janet, it's back to you.
All right, thank you.